Hey there, welcome or welcome back to my channel, Transcendent Health. My name is Michaela. You could do me a favor, hit the like button down below and consider subscribing to my channel where I talk about all things health, wellness, and faith. So if you're interested, please stay tuned. So I just wanted to kind of share with you all an experience that I recently went through in regards to my job. For those of you who know me, talk to me on a regular, let it be made known that I was unfortunately terminated from my job about a month ago. And for the last couple of weeks, I've just kind of had time to sit with my thoughts and reflect of the whole entire situation and really just this past year. This time always by the end of the year, people always tend to reflect on areas that they did or did not progress in or the reasons why they didn't meet their goals, etc., etc. I just want to share a little bit of revelation that God has given me through this past year. Some of you know that I worked in childcare. Without going into too many details, I got terminated and it really left me feeling very much hurt. I wasn't so much sad at the fact that I got terminated, but I was angry at myself for staying in an environment, staying at a job that did not have my best interest at heart, which, let's be real, most jobs, they don't. The job that I worked, I definitely didn't intend on making it a career path for myself, but for the time being, I decided to work with this company because I like working with kids. The crazy thing was, I was pretty much hanging on by a thread. Childcare is very strenuous on your body, dealing with all them viruses. I was sick, I was tired, I was exhausted, and yet I was still staying at this job. I was already in the works of trying to find something else. God was telling me, okay, it's time for you to go. Your work here is done. They're not going to do right. They're not going to act right. It's time for you to leave. If I'm just being all the way honest with y'all, even though I felt what I felt in my spirit, and I was already all the way over it, another half of me was like, you know what, it's not that bad. Even though things have been very much stressful, the environment is becoming very much toxic. I'm tired, I'm burnt out. It's not that bad. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes you try to reason with yourself, weigh the scale in your head. I loved my coworkers that I worked with. I loved working with the kids. And, even though management was tripping, I felt like, I'm not going to make a career out of this. I'm going to just stay just a little bit longer. Just another day, another week, another year. It'll get better. It'll get better. Broken promises from management. I'm an optimistic person. Like, I thought things were going to get better and they just didn't. As much as people gripe and complain, oh, they're not doing this, they're not doing that. You have the power to change your environment. As dysfunctional as things were, myself including, the people that I worked with, we constantly vented, constantly complained. And, when you have to hear that on a regular, that just becomes draining in itself. It's already bad enough that, management is a pain. The circumstances of surrounding the situation, just are not ideal, but to constantly go in an environment and you hear people gripe, complain, but you see them not doing anything proactively to take steps to either remove themselves from the equation or, express their concerns, it becomes very just altogether draining. And I just realized that, a lot of people will allow themselves to be in environments that are toxic, that, are not serving them any longer, but they rather just sit back and complain than actually, take a chance, take a step out on faith and move accordingly. Now, sometimes God will allow you to stay in these environments because, everything that's uncomfortable to you does not mean you need to automatically get up and go. But, sometimes there is a time in the season for that, for prayer, pray to the situation. I get it. I tried that. I did that. But ultimately, if people ain't going to do right, they're not going to do right. God can move upon that person's heart. He can move upon a certain situation, which is God's grace in itself. But at some point, you got to make the decision to move on. And I do believe that sometimes God has you in these type of environments so you can be a light to those around you. But sometimes you got to read the room. I put all this effort, into trying to be, a good employee, a good worker. And not only did I get the short end of the stick, I had to go outside like that. In my spirit, I heard God tell me, don't be complacent. Now, in my prayer time with the Lord, I was asking, for wisdom and understanding and pretty much just closure from the situation. As bad as the situation was, as bad as it turned out, I was pretty much happy to be free from the shackles of that place. But, I'm somebody that puts my heart and my soul into anything that I do. And for me to have stuck it out that long, continue to put up with the disrespect, trying to, still be in servitude, do the godly thing, do the Christian thing, only for me to end up being done in a way, that left me very much angry. But at the end of the day, I really had to assess how God was, pulling and nudging in my spirit
And it was my decision to stay there, and I think because I allowed myself to get in this mindset of, oh, well, it's not that bad, I'm not going to stay here too much longer. I ended up messing around and finding out. And it kind of reminded me of that story in the Bible with Lot, how Lot in the Bible was surrounded by so much wickedness, so much evil, in the city of Sodom and Gomorrah. But because, the land was plentiful, he had comfortability there, his family was there, he felt like he's better off just staying there and just putting up with the disrespect, putting up with the, abominable things that he saw when God was trying to remove him and his family out of the situation. And unfortunately, Lot's wife, he got taken out. You know what I'm saying? So people, I think in nature, it is in our nature to, sit in situations that are just not ideal. You're in relationships that you need to make arrangements to either break ties or try to go about, doing the right thing and glorifying God in your relationship. But because you have become complacent and you're comfortable and you feel like, well, God loves me. He knows my heart. He knows the situation. I don't really need to do much. Or even, if you are walking with the Lord and you feel like you've done all you need to do on this earth, you don't really need to do anything more because you're going to make it into heaven anyway. No, like God is calling you to more. You know that he's calling you to more, but because you are comfortable in your situation, even though, it may not be ideal and that God is calling you elsewhere, a lot of people just decide to stay in those situations. And, it's really sad because complacency kills. Complacency, results in procrastination. It breeds, disappointment and just not growing and reaching into your full potential. Because, God moves in times and seasons. And, he puts us in these certain environments to grow us and to, further better us for his glory. But, you got to make that decision. Don't get comfortable where you are in your walk with the Lord. You need to, at this point, go above and beyond. It is the time and is the season to go above and beyond. Zephaniah chapter 1 verse 3. And it shall come to pass at that time, I will send Jerusalem with lamps and punish the men who are settled in complacency, who say in their heart, the Lord will not do good, nor will he do evil. Proverbs chapter 1 verse 32. For the waywardness of the inexperienced will kill them, and the complacency of fools will destroy them. This is not the season, nor is it the hour to be chillaxed or set in your ways. Do what you need to do. Move in obedience. Part ways with that relationship, that job. Hell, move if the Lord is calling you to move to a different town, city, state, and be obedient to what he's calling you to do. Do not allow those around you to sway your opinion of what you think you should be doing, and just move in obedience regardless. The whole world is in a state of complacency with the Most High. Step outside of your comfort zone, your familiar, and move and see where the Lord takes you.
Anything that God allows is for my better. In my head, I'm thinking like, Lord, I know you had to see me looking for something else. Said, let me speed up the process and help you out. If you could, please do me a favor. If you liked the video, if you found this to be edifying at all, please share it with your friends, family members, and subscribe to my channel. All right, see y'all in the next video. Bye-bye.